Magandang umaga sa inyo mga kapwa kamag-aral. Halina nga at pag-usapan natin ang isa sa mga pinakasikat na akda ni Anelio Jacinto, ang Kartilya ng Katipunan. Subalit, kilala mo na nga ba si Anelio Jacinto?
Familiar yung itsura, pero hindi ako sure sa pangalan.
Si Rizal.
Rizal po? Hindi ko alam kung hindi ko sure. Hindi, kilala ko yan eh. Hindi ko rin narin. Hindi po eh. Either si Emilio Aguinaldo or Apolinario mo. Sure. Emilio Jacinto.
Tama po. Galing.
Search ko po kasi ganun.
Ilan lang yan sa mga taong hindi pa lubos na nakakilala kay Emilio Jacinto. Kaya halina talakayin natin ang kanyang buhay kasabay na rin ng pag-unawa sa kanyang akda na pinamagatang Kartilya ng Katipunan.
Good day everyone, we are Group 1 of Batch 2 BSBA Marketing 1A. We are about to discuss the famous artwork of Emilio Jacinto, the Kartilya ng Katipunan. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. I am your speaker, Antoinette Azul, and I am about to give you a brief discussion about the Kartilya ng Katipunan. First and foremost, what is Kartilya ng Katipunan? So, Kartilya ng Katipunan is like a manual or a guidebook that guides every new member of the KKK. It consists of rules and principles of the organization that every Katipunero must embody.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction and a brief discussion about Kartilya ng Katipunan, Antoinette Azul. Now, I am Joan Sarmiento and I am about to show you the author's background for Kartilya ng Katipunan, Emilio Jacinto. Dimas Ilaw was his pen name. Ipinanganak siya noong December 15, 1875 sa lungsod ng Tondo, Manila. He was proficient both in Spanish and Tagalog. Anak ni na Mariano Jacinto and Josefa Dizon. Kinasal siya kay Catalina de Jesus. He went to a private school for his primary education sa paaralan ng kolegyo, University of Santo Tomas para sa kanyang law studies. He was one of the highest-ranking officers of the Revolutionary Society, kataas-taasan, kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. Emilio Jacinto dropped college at age of 20. He became the advisor on fiscal matters and secretary of Andres Bonifacio. He wrote the society's newspaper called Kalayaan. Emilio Jacinto was later known as Utak ng Katipunan. He served as the spokesperson for the Katipunan as well as handling its finances. Emilio Jacinto was in charge in creating in the guidebook for new members which was called Kartilya ng Katipunan. Namatay siya noong April 16, 1899 sa edad na 24. Ito ang ilan sa mga gawa ni Emilio Jacinto. Una, Katipunan ng Manga, also known as the Kartilya 1895. Pangalawa, Gising na Mga Tagalog 1895. Pangatlo, Liwanag at Dilim 1896, Alapatria 1897 at huli, Sa Bayan Tinubuan 1896. In the 1970s, Emilio Jacinto remains were transferred and enshrined at Himalayang Pilipino Memorial Park in Quezon City. Jacinto's likeness to be featured on the old 20 pesos bill that were circulated from 1949 to 1969 and also on the old 20 centavo bill. Emilio Jacinto was considered one of the greatest military geniuses of his time.
Thank you for telling us some of those background details about Emilio Jacinto, Joan Sarmiento. So I am Clarence Ray, and now let's proceed to the reason of writing the Kartilya ng Katipunan of Emilio Jacinto. So what are the reason why Emilio Jacinto wrote the Kartilya ng Katipunan? Before that, did you know there's a first Kartilya ng Katipunan written by Andres Bonifacio titled Katong Kulang Gagawin ng mga ZLIP? But he decided that the work of Emilio Jacinto should be attached to the sworn deed of future members of the organization. The original title is Mga Aral ng Katipunan ng Anak ng Bayan. This is somewhat derived from the 10 Commandments of God. There are 14 codes of conduct in Kartilya ng Katipunan, and I am about to give you an example and I explain it to you. Ito ay tatlo lamang sa 14 Code of Conduct ng Kartilya ng Katipunan. Ito ay ang pang-una, pang-anim at pang-pito. Pang-una, ang kabuhayang hindi ginugol sa isang malaki at banal na kadahilanan ay kahoy na walang lihim, kundi damong makamandag. So ano ang meaning nito? We must have a purpose for why we live. Just like the Katipuneros, they give their lives for the freedom of our motherland. That's how much they love our country. Yan nila kamahal ang Pilipinas. Next, number 6. Sa taong may hiya, salita'y panunumpa. Again, sa taong may hiya, salita'y panunumpa. Ibig sabihin nito ay, if we make a promise, it must be fulfilled. Kung ano man ang ating sinabi o nabanggit, kailangan nating panindigan. Last, number 7. Huwag mong sayangin ang panahon. Ang yamang nawalay magpapangyayaring magbalik. Ngunit ang panahong nagdaan ay di na muli pang magdadaan. Ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin nito? Let us not waste our time on things that are not important. Like I have said earlier, let's give a purpose to our life. Treasure lost can be restored, but time is not. We have a saying, or meron tayong kasabihan, time is gold. So let's use our time for meaningful things. Kagaya na lamang ng mga Katipuneros, nawalan man ng maraming kayamanan ng ating bansa, pero nagtagumpay naman tayong makalaya sa kamay ng mga mananakop. At hanggang ngayon, ito'y ating ninanamnan. So now, let us go back to the purpose of writing the Kartilya ng Katipunan. It was written to be a guide that contains other type of good manners and good thinking, like those mentioned earlier. Also to prevent the change of heart to join the organization, so that they know what the importance of what they're fighting for. There is also a principle of what a member should be. It is a set of principles that shows the way how everyone can live through only absolute goodness. This also shows the burning heart of the Katipuneros that want to change in the country. Karagdagan impormasyon, ang kopya ng Kartilya ng Katipunan ay binibigay lamang sa mga bagong pasok o bagong miyembro ng Katipunan.
Thank you for sharing us the reasons of writing the Kartilya ng Katipunan, Clarence Ray. Now, I am your speaker, Jennifer De Mesa, and I am about to discuss the highlights of Kartilya ng Katipunan. But before we proceed to the main highlights of our discussion, let me tell you something about KKK first. In the year 1892, KKK or Kataas-Taasan Kagalang-Galangan Katipunan ng mga Anak ng Bayan was founded by Andres Bonifacio. It is a revolutionary that aims the independence freedom of the Philippines from the oppressors. Now, let's proceed with our main discussion. Here are the 14 rules of Kartilya ng Katipunan. The first rule is that ang kabuhayang hindi ginugugol sa isang malaki at banal na kadahilanan ay kahoy na walang lilim, kundi damong makamandag. The first code of conduct simply tells us that we must have a purpose-driven life. It tells us that we have to set our goals and find a meaning, or we know the importance of our life. Because without the purpose or goals, our life would be meaningless. The second rule is that ang gawang magaling na nagbubuhat sa pagpipita sa sarili at hindi na sa gumawa ng kagalingan ay di kabaitan. This code of conduct tells us that we shouldn't do good deeds just for the sake of our own benefit, but for others too. We must not be selfish. It tells us that we must do good deeds willingly and with an open heart to help people, especially to those who are in need. The third rule is that ang tunay na kabanalan ay ang pagkakawang gawa, ang pag-ibig sa kapwa at ang sukat ng bawat kilos, gawa at pangungusap sa talagang katuwiran. This code of conduct tells us to be kind and love one another. We can be kind, helpful, and caring to others without expecting or asking anything in return. The fourth rule is that may timan at maputi ang kulay ng balat, lahat ng tao ay magkakapantay. Mangyaring sa higtan sa dunong, sa yaman, sa ganda, ngunit di mahigtan sa pagkatao. This code of conduct is about equality. We are all born and raised equal, no matter what race, gender, or status they are. We may have been divided by our society, but we are all one, especially when it comes to unity. The fifth rule is that ang mataas na kalooban ay inuuna ang puri kaysa sa pagpipita sa sarili. Ang may hamak na kalooban ay inuuna ang pagpipita sa sarili sa puri. This code of conduct tells us that a good person prefers to keep and value honor rather than keep their personal interest. The sixth rule is that sa taong may hiya, sila'y panunumpa. This code of conduct tells us that every person shall value and keep their words, that we must be a man of our own words. Words are also the one who binds us together. What we have said must be done because we can never take back what we have been said. The seventh rule is that huwag mong sasayangin ang panahon. Ang yamang nawalay mangyayaring magbalik, ngunit panahong nagdaan na'y di na muli pang magdadaan. This code of conduct tells us that we must value and spend our time wisely. It tells us that we should treasure time because we cannot control it. If we didn't spend it wisely, maybe someday we will regret it because we can never take it back or make it into the past again. The eighth rule is that ipagtanggol mo ang inaapi at kabakahin ang umaapi. This code of conduct tells us that we should help the special if we can. We fight for what is right. Let us fight together with the weak who needs our help and comfort to win the fight. Let's fight those people who keep dragging the weak and innocent people down. The ninth rule is that ang taong matalino ay ang may pag-iingat sa bawat sasabihin at matutong paglihim ang dapat ipaglihim. This code of conduct is about trust and confidentiality. It tells us that every person shall be careful to the words that they want to say and keep all the words that is needed to be kept. The tenth rule is that sa daang matinik na kabuhayan, lalaki ay siyang patnugot ng asawa at mga anak. Kung ang umaakay tungo sa sama, ang patutunguhan ng iaakay ay kasamaan din. This code of conduct tells us that having a role model will help us to be better, will help us to see the right path, and make the right decision for ourselves. The 11th rule is that ang babae ay huwag mong tignan ng isang bagay na libangan lamang, kundi isang katuwang at karamay sa mga kahirapan nitong kabuhayan. Gamitin mo ang buong pagpipitagan ang kanyang kahinaan at alalahanin ang inang pinagbuhatat na giwi sa iyong kasangulan. This code of conduct tells us that every woman shall be treated equal and right. All women deserve to be loved and respected and not to be seen as an object. The 12th rule is that hindi mo ibig na gawin sa asawa mo, anak at kapatid, ay huwag mong gagawin sa asawa, anak at kapatid ng iba. This code of conduct tells us that we must not do bad things to others if we don't want others to do bad things to you. It tells us that every action has its own consequences, so be careful of the actions that you will make. The 13th rule is that ang kamahalan ng tao ay wala sa pagkahari, wala sa tangos ng ilong at puti ng mukha, wala sa pagkaparing kahalilin ng Diyos, wala sa mataas na kalagayan sa balat ng lupa, wagkas at tunay na mahal ng tao kahit laking gubad at walang nababatid kundi ang sariling wika. Yaong may magandang asal, may isang pangungusap, may dangal at puri, yaong di napapaapi, di nakikiapi, yaong marunong magdamdam at marunong lumingap sa bayang tinubuan. This code of conduct tells us that a man's life is not measured by what he has. It is measured for who he is and for having a good character, morals, and knowing for the value of life and love for his or her loved ones and motherland. The parting truth is that paglaganap ng mga araw na ito at maningning na sumikat ang araw ng mahal na kalayaan dito sa kaaba-abang sangkalupuan at sa buga ng matamis niyang liwanag ang nangagkakaisang magkalahit magkakapatid ng ligaya, ng walang katapusan, ang mga ginugol na buhay, pagod at mga tiniis na kahirapay labis ng nadungbasan. Kung lahat ng ito ay matarok na ng nag-iibig pumasok at inaakala niyang matutupad ang mga tutungkulin, may tatalang kanyang ninanasa sa kasunod nito. This code of conduct is all about hope. It is the hopefulness of the people from their motherland. When these teachings have been propagated, people will have hope and they will rise again, and all of the sacrifices that have been made will be worth it and will be not put in vain. So, as we have been discussed, the Kartilya ng Katipunan was meant to guide us in living our everyday life on its fullest. More importantly, it highlights the importance of having a right attitude towards the other people.
Thank you, Jennifer de Mesa, for letting us know each rule that is indicated in Kartilya ng Katipunan. So, I am Ronel Angelo Alegria, and I am here to discuss the main arguments of Kartilya ng Katipunan. The Kartilya of the Katipunan was not just important to the Katipuneros, but also told the Filipinos during a time where the country was under the control of powerful forces. A Katipunan needs to grasp the laws, values, and teachings of the brotherhood. New members need to know that it is not easy to join the brotherhood, and they will do what is required wholeheartedly. So as you can see in the presentation, there are 3 bullet points. The first main argument is the document was written in order for the new members to understand what the Katipunan stand for, their principles and teachings. Ang Kartilya ng Katipunan ay isinulat para sa mga bagong saling membro. They have written it for those members upang lubusan nilang maintindihan kung ano ba talaga ang kanilang sinaligan. They have written it so that the members have a guide for not only in becoming a fighter, but also to be a person with a purpose. Let's proceed to the second main argument of Kartilya ng Katipunan. Also, they want to encourage people to become firm and be responsible for those decisions. The Kartilya ng Katipunan wants to lead the people to become more responsible and to stand firm for those decisions, and also to avoid conflict and misunderstanding. At ang panguli ay, the Katipunan also wanted them to understand that being a part of the association carries a great role, which one must perform, because Katipunan was established in order to fight the oppression and protect the people. The Kartilya ng Katipunan wanted the newly joined members to understand and to make sure that they are ready for what they are joining upon, and also for them to be ready for the consequences that they might face. So those are the author's main argument of Kartilya ng Katipunan by Emilio Jacinto. Take a water break because there are 2 more topics to be discussed by my groupmates. Muli, ako'y nagpapasalamat sa inyong pakikinig at pagsama sa aking talakayan ng main argument of Kartilya ng Katipunan.
Thank you for your discussion about the main arguments in Kartilya ng Katipunan, Ronel Alegria. Now, I'm your speaker, Christian Albert Lanshan, and I am here to discuss to you the biases of Kartilya ng Katipunan. Before we start tackling the biases of Kartilya ng Katipunan of Emilio Jacinto, I just want to recall first the meaning of bias as the part of context analysis. We know that every history has its own biases, which lend credibility to the context itself. Coming from the word bias, it is simply defined as the one that gives favorable side of the story. So, as you can see, the biases of Kartilya ng Katipunan are obviously its very own writer, Emilio Jacinto, who is also known as the commander of Katipunan in Northern Luzon, and Andres Bonifacio as the head of the Katipuneros. One of the purposes and goals of Emilio Jacinto's writing this work is to remind all Katipuneros of how they should live and act freely in their lives without the pressure and presence of the Spaniards. Here are some of the phrases that act as a bias that you will see in Kartilya ng Katipunan. Ang tunay na kabanalan ay ang pagkakawang gawa, ang pag-ibig sa kapwa at ang isukat ang bawat kilos, gawa't pangungusap sa talagang katawiran. Which means, being morally good consists of generosity, loving your fellow men, being wise in every action, and giving deeds to our speech. Next is, maitim man at maputi ang kulay ng balat, lahat ng tao ay magkakapantay. Mangyayaring ang isa'y higtan sa dunong, sa yaman, sa ganda, ngunit hindi may higtan sa pagkatao. This simply means that because of our skin color is not as ideal as the others, we are inferior to them. We should still be cheerful and have a good moral character, as it is more important than having a good physical appearance. Next is, ang di mo ibig gawin sa asawa mo, anak at kapatid, ay huwag mong gagawin sa asawa, anak at kapatid ng iba. It simply means that you should never do miserable things to other people that you would not want others to do to your relatives. So, those are the biases that you will see in the famous work of Emilio Jacinto, The Kartilya ng Katipunan.
Thank you for the information you have given us about the basis of Kartilya ng Katipunan, Christian Arbot Lancian. Now, once again, I am your speaker, Antoinette Azul, and I'm going to tell you about the importance of understanding Philippine history along with the relation of Kartilya ng Katipunan. This is only one of the few record documents of Philippine Revolution that had survived up to this day just to provide a slip of Philippine history. Ng Katipunan has not only gained a huge contribution in Philippine Revolution, but it also gained an impact in our Filipino identity. For us, this document is significant for all Filipino living out there for a reason of Kartilya ng Katipunan has not only helped us to fight for our freedom but also fire up our blood to be a real Filipino. Upon studying, our history would mold us to whom we are right now. We can see that it's not only full of rules and principles of the Katipunero, but also touches self-reflection of every Filipino who will going to read it. In conclusion, along with the phrase from Kartilya ng Katipunan, live your life to light and right, this work of Jacinto has not only gained a huge impact in our Philippine Revolution and in history, has become the guide of every Filipino for their present and future plan to be a Filipino by mind and heart. So that's all we can say. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have learned something about the Kartilya ng Katipunan by Emilio Jacinto. If you have any question, you can direct message us on our social media platform. Once again, thank you and good day.